I think most of us have stencils in our crafting stash, and I think one of the cool things about stencils is that they're so versatile. One of the techniques that I love doing with my stencils is watercoloring. This is such a great way to stretch the use of my stencil and get a totally different look than the typical ink blending or using paste of some sort. This result is so pretty. The other technique that I'm featuring in today's card is stencil shifting. And that's a fun technique because it gives you the ability to basically overlap your stencil design to get a totally different look. Today's project features some new products from Simon Says Stamp's Crafty Hugs collection. One of the products is the Radiating Hearts stencil, and that's what I'm taping down onto some watercolor paper right now. I'm going to use purple tape to hold the stencil in place so it doesn't shift as I work with it. And the first thing we're going to need to do is trace all of the hearts in the stencil to create the pattern. This is so I know exactly where I'm going to be watercoloring as I color in each of these hearts. Now, depending on what stencils you have in your stash, you can make this work for other products you already own. You don't have to use this Radiating Heart stencil. However, this stencil is really cool, and it also is going to let me do that really cool stencil shifting technique as well. Before I watercolor, I am going over top of all of my pencil lines to lighten them up with an eraser. And this is going to help make sure that these don't show through the watercoloring as I color in these hearts. So for watercolors, I chose some Prima watercolor confections, which I have in a custom palette here. And I'm going to start using a rainbow of colors to color in each of these hearts. I colored each size of these hearts the same color throughout this entire design, and I used a fairly small brush to help make sure I got all of the nooks and crannies of each of these small hearts colored in. As you're coloring, it's fun to be able to mix some colors together to create new tones, so you'll notice I used 2 shades in each of the hearts to create some variation. After my coloring is done, I'm going to set this aside to dry completely before I take my stencil and lay it back over top of my project, but this time shifting it just a little bit so that the hearts are now overlapping with the hearts I had already previously watercolored. I'm going to tape this back into place, and this time I'm going to go over top of these hearts with some glitter Glitz gel from Gina Designs. This is the iridescent color. So this is translucent. It's going to give me a really nice shimmery set of hearts, but they're going to be translucent so I can see underneath as these hearts overlap with the watercoloring I just did. Now also make sure that your watercoloring is completely dry before adding any sort of paste over top of this, because you don't want to smear and contaminate the watercoloring with any of the colors you've already put down. I used a stencil palette that gives me a really nice smooth finish, and I'll make sure I put all of that extra paste back into the jar for later. Carefully, I'll take this purple tape off of the stencil and my paper so that I can lift off the stencil and show you the beautiful, not only watercoloring and the glitter Glitz gel, but the stunning overlap design that we get because we shifted the stencil. Now, the new Simon Says Stamp Crafty Hugs collection also includes the HEXAGON Greetings stamp set and coordinating die, and I'm going to use one of the sentiments here on stamping it onto black cardstock so that I can heat set this with some white embossing powder. This sentiment is a really beautiful script font, and I really loved the cute little banner that is underneath the word thinking. I thought it would be fun to add a little bit of interest by putting the rest of the sentiment of you onto some guava cardstock, and that's going to allow me to fussy cut the sentiment out and pop that little banner up off of the original of you that was embossed onto the black cardstock. This just adds a little bit of interest to the greeting. You don't have to do this, but I really liked the finished off look that it gives to the sentiment. So I'll pop that up off of my card, which is slightly larger than an A2 size, and I'll add a few of the new Simon Says Stamp Rainbow Party sequins onto my card as well for some fun embellishment. These really complement all the colors that I've used today in my watercoloring. And again, this is such a great way to stretch your stencils and give them a whole new look and feel by doing watercoloring instead of ink blending or adding paste. I did add paste, of course, when I shifted the stencil, but you could have also skipped that step and just had the watercolored hearts. Either way, I hope that today's project has inspired you to use some of these new products from Simon Says Stamp's Crafty Hugs collection. Thanks so much for tuning in today and spending time with me. I will be back again very soon with more to share. Until next time, have a great day. Bye!